Hey mamas, welcome to phase 2, day 1 of our postpartum ab program to heal, rebuild, and strengthen our abs post-baby. If you haven't done phase 1 yet, go ahead and go back to phase 1. There's 2 workouts there, and then after a couple weeks, you'll progress here. Let's start first, exercise on our backs. We're going into a supine march. So you've already done this one before. Pull that belly button in toward your spine, and we're gonna lift one leg over the hip at a time. So knee to 90 degrees, press that lower back toward the floor. Just lift and tap that foot. Good, really light on those toes so you're putting all that pressure, lower back pressing toward the floor. And again, we're engaging that transverse abdominis, pulling that belly button in toward the spine. We didn't do the TVA breathing. You'll notice that from phase 1. We didn't do that today. You could keep doing that, but you should already know how to engage that transverse abdominis after the first phase. So that's really foundational for these next few phases that we're gonna do here. And you're gonna rest 10 seconds and we'll move on to our next exercise, which is the reverse march. Again, you've done this one before. You know there's a little more pressure, so lift those knees over your hips, tap one toe, and lift. And again, we want to create that downward pressure in toward the floor, keeping that transverse abdominis engaged nice and tight, like you've got Spanx around your waist. And we want to stop those knees directly over the hips. Why? Because if you pull them in, you feel what happens? Your abs relax. So we want to keep that tension on. And if this is too much, again, you can go back to that first exercise. You notice sometimes I put my hands here. I'm trying to feel, is my core engaging? What's happening when I'm moving those legs? Is your belly trying to pooch? Is your lower back lifting? Think about all those things and be really intentional. Rest. We want to be really intentional to make sure we're engaging everything properly. And of course, resting when we need to. All right, we're moving on to that double bent leg lift. So legs go up, knees over those hips. Tap the toes nice and light. So this one, quite a bit more pressure. Move nice and slow, especially as you're moving those legs down. I want you to focus on pushing, really pulling that belly button in toward your spine. And again, your palms are facing up, so you're not gripping that floor. All that pressure is coming from the abs. Almost there. Good work. All right, rest. We're moving on to a single leg march with a leg extension. So keep those hands where they are. We're gonna lift the front leg up, knee to 90 degrees, and extend it out to 45. Bend again and tap. Keep it going. Knee up, press out. This one's a little less pressure than that last exercise, but it's gonna help you kind of refocus that core. What's it doing here? And we're doing unilateral training now, so working each leg individually, working each side individually. So if you've got a stronger side, a weaker side, we're gonna even everything out here. Now if this feels a little too easy, you can take that leg a little lower to the floor. But if you're just starting this phase, I would stay about 45 degrees. And rest. We're gonna do the exact same thing on the other leg. So just reset, breathe, and lift that knee, extend. Really light on those feet when you drop the leg or drop the foot. You feel your body wanting to shift at all here, like shift side to side. You control that using your abs. It's core stability. Anytime we're doing anything with movement, the extremities, the legs, the arms, that makes your core, forces your core to stabilize. And when we properly engage, that's how we get stronger. Almost there, guys. and rest. All right, we're gonna move on to a glute bridge, and this time we're gonna march. So just like we did that supine march, we're gonna do it in a bridge position. Lift those hips, lift one leg, knee over the hip, and put it back down. Alternating sides, so still right here, knee 90 degrees. And now feel what happens to your hips. Are you dropping one hip as you lift one leg? Try to keep squeezing your butt so you can maintain hips nice and high, nice and level, so you're not, again, dropping, shifting through those hip bones. And you can even put your hands on your hip bones and kind of feel what's happening. Do you feel your hip bones kind of drop when one leg lifts? A little bit of movement is normal, but do you notice a big difference compared to one side compared to another? Maybe that's the side you want to pay more attention to. Almost there. And rest. All right, we're moving on to a hydrant. So come onto your hands and knees, shoulders under wrists, knees under hips. We're gonna start with that right leg. So knee comes 90 degrees, lift it, and bring it back down to the floor. Now, you're not trying to get your leg as high as possible. I want you to stop when you start to feel your weight shift. So that might be coming right here. That might be, you can bring your knee all the way up about hip level. You can flex or point the foot. No big deal, but I want you to keep that weight evenly distributed through the hands. And again, hips square to the floor. And if you start to lean, reset, and go a little bit lower. It's not a big deal. Remember, it's a phase, right? So you've got a few weeks to work on this one. And I suggest 3 weeks per phase. But if you need to, you can go longer. These workouts are meant to build on each other. So if you haven't really mastered one phase yet, you should probably stay there until you have, so you can get the most out of it. Rest. All right, we're gonna do the same thing, other leg. And I'm gonna stay facing this direction so you can kind of see what I'm doing from another point of view. All right, other leg. Again, I'm being really mindful to press evenly through my hands, pressing through my knee that's on the ground. And as I'm lifting that leg, that's when I'm tightening my core. At the bottom, I'm kind of relaxing a little bit. Tight, tight, tight as you pull that belly button toward your spine when you're lifting that leg. And again, if I'm starting to sink into that hip, I know I'm going too high. I want to try to minimize that movement. Looking out just past my fingertips here, so you're keeping that neck in neutral. Great. All right, we're moving on. Coming down onto one forearm, hip in line with the forearm, knees together, heels together. We're gonna do a clam lift. So you're gonna lift your hip, open those knees, and then drop all the way down. So you're lifting through the underside of this waist, pressing through the forearm. So it's really important to have that elbow at 90 degrees. The hip should be in line with the elbow. And then as you lift, you wanna pull that shoulder away from your ear and you wanna pull your hip up. So you're not just lifting through your shoulder. You're lifting through that hip primarily, and you're relaxing, tightening those abs right here at the top. Heels should stay together, knees forward. This one's quite a bit more difficult. Take it as slow as you need to. There's no pressure to get a certain number of reps or to go fast. Yes, maybe you can go faster as you progress, but if you're just starting out, just take it slow. Nice work, guys. We're moving on to the other side, and this will be our last exercise for today. So again, 90 degrees, hip in line with the elbow, heels together, hand on hip, and we lift. Bringing those knees apart. So this little bit of abduction that's separating those legs, getting into those hips as well. So we're strengthening the core with those glutes, and that's really important because you can't have good core function without strong glutes, and vice versa. They really need to complement each other for you to be able to see results in your core and pelvic floor. So when we're firing both of those muscles simultaneously, that's when we're really rehabbing that postpartum core. Relax, tight, tight, tight right here. Pull that belly in. We're almost there. And we made it 10 minutes. Phase 2, day 1 or workout number 1. Do this one, again, up to 3 times a week in this phase, about 3 weeks, give or take. You might go longer in this one if you need to. If you're truly beginner, go back to my phase 1. And once you move past phase 1, come here. Once you move past 2, we'll go on to phase 3 and then finally phase 4. But I hope you enjoyed it. Give me a thumbs up and subscribe to see my future postpartum ab workouts.